It's the goddess Wiz.
Check the method. What do you think of this?
So be it.
Fireball to the face, bitch. I'm hitting these 20s like nothing. Thunder and lightning still back in my column. You know that I couldn't be bluffing. Wait it out. I still haven't seen all the shit you've been bragging about. I'm on the wizard shit. You're giving quests in the crowd. Run it back. I've been in this game. I know how to talk to the rats. Getting stacked. All of the spells that I'm hitting is slap. Rodent king. All of your treasures fall into my lab. My potions could kill you, bitch, cause your ass ain't strapped.
Check the method.
What are you doing here? Is I forest?
I didn't know Vylet made dubstep.
What do you think of this?
Sorry, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. The she never done it before, girls her wizards, so I get it, is a joke, right? That's a joke, right? I feel like for the rest of my life I'm gonna have to be like explaining the different parts of my like music project to people who are like new. Like, instead of just like explaining this, let me show the proof of it. If you go to my YouTube channel and you click on I mean, we could talk about Thing at the Place. January 3rd, 2013. This is 12 years ago. This is 12 years ago.
face.
Now, not necessarily bro step. It is more electro, house slash complextro. But, the first like true bro step thing, I guess. I don't want to talk about Fluttershy's Gala. That's not real. Alicorn Twilight from again 12 years ago. Now the difference between this and Think At the Place is I did most of the sound design on Think At the Place, whereas Alicorn Twilight's mostly just like Monster Bass Volume 2 or something. But then I learned how to do more of my own sound design after this. I'm trying to think what is like the more original, was maybe like the first like super original bro step song. Well, see, that's the problem, is I was making a lot of bro step music way back in the day. But then I started focusing a lot. Once I started doing more of my own sound design, my focus shifted mostly to like complextro and like house music rather than like really, really, really bro step type shit. And so like I was doing the sound design, but I was focusing on like, you know, 4 on the floor beats rather than like halftime 140, 150. So the way I would say is that I had been making a lot of bro step for years, but I didn't release a ton of it just because like I either never finished it or I was just focusing more on like 4 on the floor, 128 stuff. I don't really, and what's really funny is that I've literally been doing it for so long, and then like there was a point where I realized I just hadn't released a lot of it, which is why I made the antonym thing. I was like, I've made a lot of demos like this before, but I never really released a song that sounded like this, so I might as well do this.
Sing a song about life.
Let me bring up like my Spotify page. Let's see. Like, what would I say is like, well, technically this, I guess. But literally, whenever you hear my bro step stuff, it's just actually in the context of like house music. So let me get more examples of that. Like thinking with my big brain. I mean, like, here's the original Nightmare Night. And like this. And like this. And Ghosties. But most notably, Pinky's Adventure Donut. This is maybe like my first actually like good complextro song. And then in Horse Friends, there's just even more complextro, just more and more of it. By the time I started doing more halftime, like 140, 150 stuff, I had moved on from like the early bro step sound, and I was trying to do like modern stuff, like here's Scaremaster. So this is like post-rhythm stuff. So it's like, I had been practicing that old bro step style for a long time, didn't end up releasing a lot of those songs, and when I finally was like proficient enough with sound design and songwriting for these like halftime type dubstep influenced things, it was like I was doing the new stuff at the time, the trendy stuff, instead of the old bro step sound. So I kind of frequently forget that people don't realize that I'd practiced that for so long. You know, bang out like hybrid trap stuff. And Mystic Acoustics with, what are we looking at? Inequality here. What's funny is I actually have been listening to the old demo of Inequality a little bit recently. Let me see if I can find that one. Because it used to sound very different. I think it was demo 50, was it? No, that's the wrong one. What is it? This one?
Don't.
Oh, 78. Okay, so Inequality, demo 78. I actually really like this version of Inequality. It got changed out quite a bit, but this intro part will sound familiar to people who have heard this album.
Team standing by.
But this is the original drop for it.
This is how you switch. Check it. Switch.
I actually really like that still. But yeah, and then like we got into really big post-rhythm stuff when we hit like Boneless. Beauty Sleep. Poppy. King is back. And then you'll notice suddenly in Cutie Marks proper, instead of those weird comb filtered like pitch or frequency shifted like rhythm style basses, suddenly you're hearing more growls in this stuff again. And then of course we just talked about the antonym one. And then genuinely I was just like realizing after the antonym thing, and I was like, I didn't do a lot of that and actually released a lot of that bro step stuff that I was really doing. And so at this album I was like, I'm gonna do it for real this time and show people what I used to do and how I can do it now. So it's like, it might sound new to some people, but I've been doing this shit for years. I'm very, very intensely shown through this. So, proving that I know how to do this stuff. And in terms of Girls Who Are Wizards, that is Musicians of Ponyville is technically the only one-to-one bro step song on Girls Who Are Wizards, because title track is Complextro, that's just Big Room House. Queen is Back is technically rhythm, kind of. Wizard of Loves is a Moomba core, but I mean, it's adjacent. This is just house. That's the bro step song in question. That's ambient. This is glitch hop, so it's not even bro step. Potion Seller is also glitch hop. Sacred Dragon's just complextro. Stinklebug is technically like dance floor, drum and bass, and bro step. If you want to learn more about glitch hop, there's two artists I would recommend. Firstly, Savant. Oh my god, I have more monthly listeners than Savant now. That's kind of nuts. Okay. Anyway, because like I've been listening to Savant since I was like 13, so it's crazy. The two like, well, technically three, but two groups. The godfathers of glitch hop are Savant and Cohen Sound. I'll show Savant first because Savant is like one of the most formative artists of like my childhood, and like without Savant, there basically is no Vylet Pony. But if you want to like hear what to me was like the glitch hop song, it was Starfish. And it sounded like this. Oops. It's perfect. It's such a perfect song. Some other great ones on Vario are like huge fan of this one. And also off of Oracle, which anyone who's listening to Savant should get into Oracle first. This is like the album to listen to. Snake Eyes is a great glitch hop song. Got that like 3 or 3 style acid bass in the background. Then, of course, maybe the more truer origin of Cohen Sound would be... I mean, the more truer origin of glitch hop would be Cohen Sound. Their stuff, super timeless, super interesting to me. You basically can't have a conversation about glitch hop without talking about Funk Blaster, which sounds like this. Like, that's great. Also, Talkbox. Not this one. Oh, okay. So, anyone who's in the Super Pony World server, the Discord server, if anyone knows about the MMM.wave snare sound that I and some other people just keep sending in the server. This is where it comes from. Yeah, we'll get back to that part.
Meanwhile,
Oh, that sound design is nuts, dude. Oh my god. It's like some of the cleanest, most tight modulated re-spaces you could ever hear, that nutty filtering. How do you do sound design like this anyway? This was done before Serum. This is in 2011. This was in 2011. This was 14 years ago. The way you do sound design like that is mostly you're working with basic waveforms. You're trying to get a ray space out of some saw waves. And the big part about it is modulating filters and pitches and stuff. They're probably doing this in Massive or maybe FMA if they were doing some FM stuff, but probably Massive, like by Native Instruments. The thing is, though, is there's some like really interesting elements about their respaces that I don't quite understand how to do like one-to-one. You'll hear I did some like Cohen sounding stuff on Love and Pony Step, specifically Comet Catcher. So when the album comes out, you can listen to that and you can hear like my interpretation of like the Cohen sound design. But I didn't really get one-to-one with it because like they just have a knowledge for this stuff that's like really crazy. And fun fact is the kick drum in this, I think it is. If you hear the kick drum, that's shit. The kick drum from this song is actually... Skrillex actually took that kick drum and used it in a lot of his songs. So it's the same kick drum as Right In. Skrillex actually used to steal a lot of like Cohen sound drums because Cohen sound they just made some really banger drums and shit. But Skrillex took some of those and used them in especially the Bangarang era. Another fun fact about Skrillex's sampling stuff is that the Island Part 2 song by Pendulum, the kick drum here, that kick drum is actually the kick drum that Skrillex sampled for Rock and Roll. So Skrillex took the kick from the Island Part 2 and used it in Rock and Roll. It's really, really fun to like trace these because like that's like who knows where Pendulum got the kick drum originally. And the whole idea is that like when you sample from another song that's already like electronic music, that sample is probably layered with other stuff. So like the more people are sampling from each other, little bits and pieces of the previous song get added to it. It's like really, really fun. It's like really fun. I love it a lot. But that's all fun in games. But yeah, I've been doing EDM. Like that's what I started doing as Vylet Pony. And I've been releasing music as Vylet Pony for 13 years. I've gone through like different phases of doing different things, so you know, all this stuff here. How do you feel about people sampling your stuff? Oh, people should sample my stuff. I think that's like a really good thing. I don't know why I would be against people sampling my stuff. That's like awesome. And like make money off of it, please. Please make money off of it. But I would say like here, you know, this was mostly just EDM with very little variance. There were some little experiments here and there with a few things, but this was mostly just EDM. In Horse Friends, we start to get into a few interesting things, like with Crimson Shade, you know, it's like the sort of like instrumental funk rock thing, which, you know, it didn't go out super great. When in Canterlot, it was sort of pop stuff. That's apparently my voice. Hot to Trot was like that hybrid trap stuff again. Smile On was like an attempt at rock music. We got to Monarch from here. Like we got to Monarch from here. But aside from those things I'm showing, like this was mostly the EDM era. Then once you get over, starting with Art and Cadency, things start to change a little bit because I started to expand beyond EDM and mostly just doing electronic adjacent music of all different kinds. So Art and Cadency is very synth pop oriented. Static was also synth wave oriented. So it was basically like sort of 4 years of uninterrupted EDM releases, and then, you know, year 5 things started to, or not year 5. It was like 3 years of uninterrupted EDM releases. 4th year, started expanding beyond that, to doing some other things. Super Pony World was a really big experiment because you would go from Complextro to like kind of ambient indie pop stuff. Down to like this OST stuff. Over to like this ambient, you know, piano piece. Go over here. It's like cinematic orchestral stuff. You know, if you listen to all my music and then reach Super Pony World's Rail Simulation, you'll realize, like, despite it being EDM focused, it is quite different from how everything else was sounding. And then right when this is basically the last great ode to the old EDM stuff. And then, because right after that, then we started doing this. Well, that's future based, but that's fine. Like whatever this is. Clearly there was like an expansion into doing like some acoustic stuff. This whatever fun little thing is. And then Love Letters was probably the biggest divergence from everything, totally, because this is purely like an R&B oriented album. So it's like that was a really big divergence, and it also coincided with the fact I started doing that sort of like modern bro step stuff. But the foray into acoustic stuff, oh, what are you yelling at me for? Okay, there you go. The foray into acoustic stuff continued with stuff like this. And like this. And naturally. Oh, Spotify, can you be normal? Even more with stuff like, you know. And then someone was asking what was the biggest leap in quality was Mystic Acoustics. So, the rise to the quality of like getting over here was pretty steady, with a slight leap with Super Pony World, an interesting change with Love Letters, but the quality sort of consistently started rising. But it was Mystic Acoustics where I basically locked in, and by this point, I had a big enough audience that I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna try and like really apply myself this time, because now enough people are paying attention, so let's see what I can really do. And I would say Mystic Acoustics is my first like great album, and maybe my first great cohesive project. Opening with Forewarning, which still remains one of my favorite songs to this day. I was clearly experimenting with acoustic music before, so now here's a full-on acoustic song. Modern electronic ambient, sort of German, liquid German bass influenced Terra. The mixing, arrangements, sound design, everything on this album was like much bigger and more bold than before. And also I was really singing a lot now. Singing was always secondary before Mystic Acoustics. A shift to a more subtle, refined question mark sort of electronic music here. And a big emphasis on orchestral. World Adrift with its synth pop stuff. But I think the most significant thing of Mystic Acoustics is that for the first time in the discography, there was something reminiscent of a progressive rock song, and that was Cadence for the Dying. Is that him? It literally is. We did it. We reached it. Yeah, that's him. You know that. And then the, you know. You know, all these spinning plates, all these things that are getting stacked on top of each other, you can feel them sort of all culminating into where I am now. You know, the biggest acoustic thing ever was this Tales from Equestria piece, which was, you know... Well, this is not acoustic, but this is. And this was. And this was. And this sort of was. Oak Library definitely was fascinating. That's just piano. Trails was a one-take song I did with Silver. So Tales from Equestria is very, very, very acoustically focused. And then here, you know, in this era, I started to really focus on like pop music and pop songwriting and like trying to improve myself as like an arranger and like a singer and like making stuff have lyrics that kind of mattered. So EDM, experimental electronic and synth pop, R&B stuff, then going back to fusing like EDM with acoustics and like orchestral stuff, small acoustic focus here, and then very much getting into like the pop sphere with these songs. So like for example, Probably Spears is a good example. And Ember. You know, you'll recognize this from Monarch. And Nowhere, of course. So like we're like starting to go full into the pop era of me. Twinkle, which still remains a very, very, very important song to me, fuses the acoustic stuff I was learning earlier with my pop songwriting, and we did this. And then when pop is in fullness with Aloe and Lotus, it basically, this was like the time for pop to really happen for Violet Pony. I think that is extremely evident from Ernest. This is like the most pop I had ever done up to this point. And when we did Ernest, I was like, holy shit, I could actually write a decent pop song. And so then I went even further with like putting all my old B-sides and stuff with Glitter and Prom Night Equestria, of course. Getting into Glitter, and we had stuff like this. And for a brief moment, I entertained the idea of doing EDM again with Glitter. Now, mind you, the last time people had heard a song like this from me would have been 2 years before it. Almost 3 years before it, technically. But that wouldn't really be entertained very much for another 2 years again. Meanwhile, Homeward was coming up, and I was like, okay, with all these Starship Ponyville albums, you know, my entire goal is to test everything I had learned up to that point. So Homeward combines everything you heard, so... With Homeward itself, here's the acoustic stuff. Square one, here comes the pop music. Convergence, here comes the orchestral music. Strangers, here comes the ambient stuff. And in the background, I had been practicing my bass music again, so here comes Swarm. Elysium has the synth pop elements. Danger Close has more of that bro stuff. but you'll notice again, still very modern sounding, modern of 2019 at the time. Then Harbor was a fascinating thing because, you know, I hadn't really tried a lot of rock music very much properly, even though rock music was like my first love. And here I was, you know, giving it a little try again. So then synth pop, dubstep again. Here comes the ambient stuff and more ambient stuff. And then Penumbra again. Here is where we get into the next prog thing I did after Cadence for the Dying, 2 years later. Which now sounds even more like a progressive rock than Cadence for the Dying did. Multi-sections like this. Some guitar in there. Quiet section. Switch up here. You know. Some guitar again. Interlude. Big fat rock part. An annoyingly dramatic outro. It was a progressive rock song. Synth pop, bro step. Tear is a lot of that orchestral stuff and some of my favorite of it. And of course, the big shocker for everyone was this fucking Overrun shit, which is where I throw R&B, you know, like weird funk synth pop stuff in here. Let's get to the part. And right from there, what would you know is I did a whole R&B album next. You know, this shit. Subtle little rock idea here. Some like ambient pop stuff. Jazz things and whatnot. So very, very laid back, very, very quiet, very R&B, very ambient. And so this was the last thing I did before I was forced to leave home. And Queen of Misfits signifies, I think, a huge change in things where, you know, I had had a little bit of pop stuff here and there. Queen of Misfits is now, it's now time for like really bombastic pop music instead. So this was like very much the pop album. Not a lot to say about Queen of Misfits, it's just like the pop album of pop albums. Now, all the while throughout these projects, I was working on Fairy Tales in the background, and what Fairy Tales was trying to do was me attempting to return to EDM, like the old EDM, and I just think it didn't really fulfill that. I still like Fairy Tales, I just don't think it succeeded at being something that feels like Super Pony World, the original one. You know, and we're so far gone from all this stuff all this time. Before that, there is this development, which is like further building on the ideas of Queen of Misfits and embracing the sort of deconstructed club and like bubblegum electro pop stuff.
From you, sorry, we were up all night getting friendly with each other. I miss you, it's tragic. Staring at the mirror, gotta smile, smile. Don't be late, we got.
The theremin sound from Rest Now Little Wolf is just a vital patch. Hold on. I'll open the project in the background. Okay, opening that now. So obviously there is something to do with that being, you know, my average words per minute is 140 to 170. So anyway, Fairy Tales. So Fairy Tales was supposed to be a return to EDM music, but the two problems were half of this isn't even EDM, and the stuff that is EDM still sounds very modern. It sounds like you know, the music that's been trending in the electronic music space at this time. So do it all differently. There's not even a lick of EDM in this. This is just a rock song. Now, Fairy Tales does have some of that old school complextro. But there's a lot of granular modern sound design in it, so it doesn't really succeed at being an old school complextro song, truly. Graffiti, this is just synth pop. You don't have the essence of Sunny Moore. That was a good way of putting it. There's no Skrillex Phantoms in here, so you know it's not like a true sequel to Super Pony World just yet. Like, this is not EDM. This is not even EDM. This is just rock music again. The Colossus, I don't even know what you would call this genre. Probably just some sort of electro pop mixed with like OST MIDI music stuff. Never Looking Back, this is just a fucking synth pop song. Now Street Rat attempts to promise to be like some sort of old school stuff, but I don't know, it just doesn't succeed at being old sounding, you know. And again, the main theme is stuff that just doesn't sound exactly like the old school EDM, or music that just isn't EDM at all. We go to Scapegoats, this is a rock song. Wave the Dodo, this is like a weird industrial electro song. Hyperion is bass music, but it's very modern sounding. Hoofprints is reminiscent of old stuff, but is very new sounding too. Moving on to part 2, it's just like, I think maybe our only true glimpse at the old stuff are these two songs here. This feels potentially like old progressive house stuff. And I Was Afraid, of course. But then so much of this, again, just the same things I've been talking about earlier. Just all like different things. And then cutie marks. was the thing. Hold on, let me talk about the theremin really quickly, and then we'll go back to this history lesson or whatever. Rest Now Little Wolf project. Would you mind loading? Thank you. Let me take off the master because it's going to cause a bunch of latency issues, and then let me turn on this. Here's the theremin. This is it. So it's basically a really, really hard pushed pulse width, square wave going into a harsh, well, not a harsh one, but like a just analog filter. We're playing it through the filter, and now, it has some effects on it. Let me turn off the effects. Here's without the effects. I'm controlling the pitch wobble with my mod wheel like this. And the way I got it to sound contextually the way it does is first there's a really short convolution reverb, which makes it sound like this. And that basically makes it sound like it's in the room with you, but it's like on the far side of a room. Then the next part of it is this sketch cassette, which adds some pretty hefty distortion, which might not come across apparently, but it warms up the sound, so this distortion is coming after the reverb rather than before it, so it helps put the dry signal and the wet signal in sort of like the same distortion space. And then I have this curve here. I was taking out this one frequency because whenever I went to this note, it was a little bit too loud. The rest of it's just tone shaping. And so in context, it sounds like this. So how many tracks is this song? I don't even remember. Oh my god, Rest Not Little Wolf is less than 100 tracks. Can you guys believe it? Holy shit, we did it. What was it? Was it this stuff here? Oh no, it's this stuff. I'm a huge fan of this part of this little thing. I really like this in the context because it's just... It really helps bring it from the loud part into the quiet part again, really contextually. And these are not real horns. These are... I play these on my piano. I've demonstrated this before, but in case you need the demonstration again, what I have for the setup is it's a UVI workstation compatible horn called V-horns. And the way it works for me is I have it set up so that you can't see this part, but I have like a mod wheel that I can turn up or down. And when I go up, that puts breath inside the instrument. So... And the other thing is that when I press a note and then press down more... Oh, do I not have it mapped to this one? Oh, no, I don't. I have it mapped to this one. So on this one, if I'm pressing a note and then I press down more... it growls it for me. So I'm playing the notes with my right hoof and doing breath control with the mod wheel. And whenever I want it to growl, I just press harder on the keyboard. Oh, and when I'm doing, there's also a pitch bend wheel here too, so I'm controlling that and the mod wheel at the same time to get, you know, more dynamic effects like this. So, that's how I do these horn effects. This is just the melody stem by itself, so there's this guitar. By itself, it's actually kind of scary sounding. It sounds kind of menacing. There's obviously a narrative purpose for that. But then you put it in context. Let's see, this layer is some guitar stuff I did here. And then, what else down here? What's down here? Oh, I duplicated the theremin sound and I did them in harmonies in the left and right channel. One note plays on the left side and one note plays on the right side, which helps it to sound much wider. And together, that melody stem sounds like this. And yes, the bass is mostly one note, I think, for most of the song. Yeah, look at this fucking bass note. It's just this. And the reason why I do this is because that's how they do it in Afterglow by Genesis. And the song is obviously interpolating Afterglow. But then you'll notice that it does change here. And the reason why is because this whole verse section is supposed to feel like tension building. And then when you get here, it just feels like just a big release of all that tension. And even if you're not paying attention to the bass note, you can feel it. And also, I do have an actual bass guitar playing underneath it, but it's also just playing the same one note. Drums are... And like I explained before, I play these on piano as well. I'll do the demonstration again. So that was played on piano, etc., etc., etc. Now there is a little cheat that I do where this was inspired very much by Swans. There's an entire drum track dedicated to just cymbals. So I have cymbals in the main drum track, but I have an entire other drum kit dedicated to just playing moments like these. And I'm doing that on the keyboard too. I think I have my delay on now, but... Oh, wait. So, doing stuff like that. It helps to have a separate track for it, because I can, you know, contextualize it differently from the main drum track. And the reason why I have that is because in a lot of my other music, my electronic music, I usually am doing a lot of things to go from one point to another, and I can't do that with like big like EDM sweeps and effects sounds, because this is a rock song, right? So in order to simulate that feeling without resulting to, you know, cheapo like electronic ideas in a place where it doesn't really feel like it belongs, I just tried to simulate that best I could with cymbals instead. You'll notice that a lot on the album. Another little detail I like is whenever I do one of these. These are some tremolo strings. This is actually an Ableton pack one that comes with Suite. And just having that accent this drop here. A big part of this is this section here where it just grows and grows and grows and grows. Oh. Let me increase my buffer size. It's really scared. Okay. You notice how many more instruments come in here compared to over here, and that's because I just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. What are these? Oh, these are fading in. So this sound here is basically fading in from the start here. So you don't hear it at first, but it fades in over time. And then, let's see, we have this here. And I'm automating the volume with the mod wheel, which we should be able to see over here. So this is how it's able to sound loud and then quiet, because normally these are just static strings. So I'm doing that with the mod wheel on my keyboard. And then, so, then there's this. What does this sound? Oh, this is like a Mellotron sound from Omnisphere. Sounds like this. Then over here, there's this sound, which is another Mellotron choir, the Genesis kind. Over here, what is this? Oh, these are horns. So basically I played these horns in tandem with each other to sound like this. Which helps get that really low, gritty stuff. Up here, what do we have? Oh, I think this is just gonna be a super saw, isn't it? Oh no. No, it's one of these. Just a basic saw. What else is here that isn't in the rest of the song? Probably something in the bass section? No, that's the same. Oh, yes, there should be the noise, right? Yeah, so then I added some guitar noise layers like this. And that's supposed to sound completely out of key with the song to make it sound noisy and like scarier. But when you hear it in the song, you don't hear it as out of key as it is. Wait. Remember that symbol thing I was talking about earlier? Well, I'm doing it dynamically for the entire time here. That's why it feels like it's sweeping in and out. Let me just solo the melody stem really quickly. Element to this build-up is the vocals, because here's how many vocals I recorded for this section. Also, where is that coming from? I think I forgot to show that stem. Oh yeah, there's this organ. But here's how many vocals I recorded for just this section. And that helps it sound pretty fucking big. Now, I've gotten a lot of questions about why this album ends this way. First of all, because it's meant to be open-ended. It's supposed to feel kind of confusing and existential. You're supposed to, like, feel, like, weird about it. Even though the song sounds confident and happy and, like, good in a way, you're supposed to feel like it just doesn't resolve properly, because it doesn't. But there's also a reason for it musically, because of course I think it's pretty obvious that this ends on an unresolved chord progression, and so it feels unsatisfying. But what you're supposed to do with Monarch is do it this way. Have the album looping when it gets here. It actually does not do it that well on Spotify. Can we do it better, Apple Music, please? And you're supposed to let Pest play out a little bit. But wait. Once it gets to this part, then you turn it down a little bit and pause it. And the reason why that's the way you're supposed to listen to Monarch is because, to me, that is like simulating the experience of like watching a movie with your friends. Whenever I watch a movie with my friends, you know, the credits music starts rolling, and, you know, we don't immediately stop the movie or whatever, because, you know, it just stopped. And so it's like you hear a bit of that outro music, you hear a bit of the credits, and then you like turn it down because the movie's over, and then you pause it because like no one's watching anymore. That was the effect that I wanted to get from listening to Monarch, is you let the intro of Past play a little bit as if those are the end credits, and then you like pause it, and it's just that feeling of like, you know, in the cycle of enjoying this media that you like, you know. That's what I wanted to get out of that. There is commentary about, you know, the cyclical nature of abuse, and like it being really open-ended, and you know, stuff like that. That's all meta commentary that I think is like really important too. But musically speaking, sound-wise, that's what I wanted out of the ending. You know, I really love in between feeling moments like that a lot. I've said before, I focus really intensely on the transitions between songs, you know, down to the seconds, because if I open the Monarch project, spoiler alert. No one look. That's why I changed. This is why I turn my screen off when I'm going through my project files. Anyway, what you'll notice is that when I'm arranging an album, is I am like very, very precise on when these things stop and start. So once the songs are all done, I bring them into a project file and I time everything. I make sure that everything is exactly spaced out how I want it to. Literally down to milliseconds sometimes. So that's that. But back to, you know, before Monarch of Monsters, after Fairy Tales, I was like, you know, Sophie Zion passed away, and that was a very, very, very significant thing for me, because she had been so important to me as an artist, as a person, you know, as a creative of any kind. And that's when I got fucking fed up with so much shit. I was going through so much, you know. I'd lost my home. I had gone through like a pretty significant breakup. I was like stuck at a job I didn't really want to be at, and like everything was just kind of sucking ass. And so I made Cutie Marks. And Cutie Marks was supposed to be a I don't give a fucking shit about anything album anymore. So this consistent rise built up, you know, all this time. Cutie Marks was just a slam dunk on it, like I don't give a fuck about anything anymore type shit. Which is partially why it sounds that way, because you can hear the slow progression of everything, you know, going up there, and then Cutie Marks just is completely out of left field in every way whatsoever. It does start out with a familiar sound of the ambient stuff and the bro step stuff, but then Bonnie happens. And no one had ever heard anyone like anything like this from me before.
I've been trying to escape from the stupid fucking phase I call love. Oh, Bonnie.
Right.
Up at school again, just wanna talk to you. It's been practice.
I had to remember that where we start this journey, it is with shit like this. And it wasn't like it was from here to rock. I've like meandered in so many different directions, and then all of a sudden, you know, we hit Bonnie. Then Antonym is, you know, going from Bonnie to Antonym. It's like, okay, some random ass dance pop music, and then here comes the lesbian ponies with weapons shit. And then suddenly I'm making like spy music for no reason. Then Wayfarer is just a fucking... Then out to like here. And especially this part. Just throughout this album, you hear so many things I just hadn't released before. We go into this reggaeton, moombacore type music. And then like hybrid trap, emo, rock, electro pop music. And then kind of more of that pop punk stuff here all of a sudden. Atychophobia is actually a 2017 song, so it doesn't really count. But it still sounds different from everything else here. Harper is like some, you know, another electro pop thing. How to Kill a Monster is like progressive rock, but mixed with like weird, like just electronic elements. Imitation Game is like your last moment to have anything normal. And then Honeymoon Phase is like weird, like glitch hop bass music with like elements of chamber pop. And then I hit you with the famous thing that goes into City of the Silence. And then you get to Seabound, which does the thing that I call a carousel switch. You know, anyone who knows my music, you probably understand why I call it that. The idea is that, you know, this entire like facade is built up narratively from track 1 all the way to track 16, starts to get broken down with 17 sounding so different, and then, you know, Seabound sort of reveals the purpose of this entire album, the underbelly of it, like the truth of it. And the thing is that's become one of my favorite things to do with these albums, is the carousel switch. Is throughout the album there's one narrative, and then there's a secondary narrative lying underneath that you have to reach first. And then the kid who kept running kind of wraps up that carousel switch, you know, in this feeling. Now, the carousel switch wouldn't happen for Fish Whisperer. Fish Whisperer is pretty consistent. But after Cutie Marks, basically what happened was, you have to understand my mindset for some of this stuff. A lot of the music in Cutie Marks is stuff that I have been practicing and enjoying for years, but just stuff I never released, if that makes sense. You know, I listen to all kinds of music. I love all kinds of music. And in the background, I'm always practicing different ideas. I have so many demos. Sometimes I will be putting out, I will be making 4 to 5 demos a week of new songs. And this has been the case for years. I've sort of have kept up this pace for a very long time. Most of those demos people don't get to hear because it's just me practicing and trying out different ideas. And it's like, I have been putting together these things in the background and learning from them and studying different ideas, different genres, different cultures, different artists, you know. All of the stuff is often brewing in the background. And so with Mystic Acoustics, you know, back in 2017, I tried very hard to, you know, apply my knowledge and to make a Keystone album, something that was very significant, and tested all of my abilities up to that point. Cutie Marks, I did Mystic Acoustics. I locked in for Mystic Acoustics because my audience had gotten big enough. And then with Cutie Marks, the listener base to my music skyrocketed. It exploded. And that was when I realized, okay, it's time to actually lock in again. You know, like, a lot of this stuff had been very much like hobby work and just, you know, me playing around and having fun. And like, I still love to do that. And I think that having fun and playing should be a big aim for creating art and music. But after Cutie Marks, I was like, no more like fooling around though. No more trying to test like what people will accept and won't accept. I'm going to just make the best art that I can. No more cutting corners, no more whatever. That is what Cutie Marks did. And what's funny about Cutie Marks is that it was hardly a perfectionist album. This album is mixed like dog shit, if we're being completely honest, because I wasn't trying very hard with the mixing. What I was trying hard with this was experimentation, and like songwriting was the big focus. But mixing and mastering, like, no. This album is not very well engineered. I mean, I didn't know how to get all these sounds to sound consistent with each other yet. That was something I would explore more. In the meantime, the critical reception of Cutie Marks was very negative at the time. For people who listen to my music normally, you know, everyone really liked it. For people on, you know, this was my exposure to Rate Your Music and Album of the Year and stuff, and it was initially very poorly received on those websites. And that like did a big blow to my confidence and also increased my desire to be more perfectionist. So my answer was Fish Whisperer. Fish Whisperer was, I'm going to like clinically test the kind of stuff that these people like and make an album that they'll like. And it worked. Because again, these people are very predictable. But it was also something I wanted to do anyway. Because the thing is, it's like, I have been wanting to make progressive rock music since I was a kid, since before all of this stuff. You know, I started doing electronic music because there was less of a barrier of entry. People share a lot more resources about electronic music and are far more willing to help you learn than I've seen like in a lot of the rock spaces that I would have wanted to be in when I was younger. But you know, starting with Fish Whisperer, I was like, okay, I'm now going to work backwards and try and make the music that I wanted to when I was younger than when I was Vylet Pony. And so Fish Whisperer was the first foray into doing that. It's like, the time has come for me to experiment with that stuff because the audience is here. People are starting to trust my narratives and my ideas. And so I'm going to try this. And Fish Whisperer, you know, was taking what I knew about everything so far, and my goal with it was to make the most consistent and the most progressive album I had done so far. So and you know, classic characters in here. So Yeah, the whole thing with Fish Whisperer is the variety of like the variety of genres is not nearly as varied as like my projects before. Instead, that variety is traded out for consistency and like trying to create like the most cohesive thing possible. The sound palette of Fish Whisperer is primarily just glitch pop, folktronica, and like rock music essentially, and trying to do so in a very like in an underwater glitchy sort of bubbly atmosphere. That was the thesis musically. And so Fish Whisperer, while being, I think, the most consistent and coherent, is also the album that I feel is just not as exciting as it could be, purely because of how consistent it is, purely because of how coherent it is. And I think that was a good experiment for me, because I learned that when I want something to feel explosive and exciting, I just can't do it the Fish Whisperer style, you know? And so that's what led me into doing Carousel. With Carousel, I wanted to focus the most on atmosphere and narrative and writing the most. And this is where the Carousel switch was born as well. Testing it out in Cutie Marks. You know, obviously Carousel, you know the thing by now. It sounds super cheery and nostalgic at the start, but really there's a deeper, darker thing brewing underneath. And curiously, you know, we've talked about it with Cutie Marks and Fairy Tales, a little bit of Glitter and Homeward. There's a little bit of foray into EDM, and Carousel really, really brings it back with Pony Rock especially. Like this is finally EDM, as it were. This is like EDM with a big, big capital E. And there's something really interesting about that in the context of Carousel, because Carousel partially criticizes nostalgia as an idea, you know? And yet here we are indulging it. But the idea is that the album starts out as nostalgic as possible, and as we move towards Carrion Child, it starts to become unrecognizable, twisted, weird. These first two songs are super faithful to the ideas I was trying to articulate at the time. Then Constellation Cradle hits you with the first curveball, and that's this intro. This doesn't sound like probably anything most people have heard before, because it's really weird, off-kilter, experimental, glitchy, textural, and you're meant to hear this after the first two songs be like, that doesn't even sound like it's in theme to anything. That sounds like it has nothing to do with this album. And then we go to the recognizable glitch hop part, and it's like, okay, we're back now. We're back to this nostalgia EDM stuff. Okay, here we are. And then, yeah, we get the cabaret thing.
That's right. In this very place.
And it's like, this feels out of place too, but narratively it's like, well, I guess we're on a carousel, so it's like, whatever. And then we get to Brohoof, and Brohoof starts with this fucking insane noise. Which is just like, okay, why did that happen? This is now nostalgic, but in the wrong direction. This has nothing to do with EDM. This is New Jack Swing music. But there's little twinges of EDM. You hear like occasional growls, weird like vocal glitches. It's like it's supposed to confuse you. It's like it's a New Jack Swing song, but it just heard a fucking yoy sound. You know? It's supposed to make you feel weird. And then Bass Cannon is where I'm trying really hard to like push this idea that everything's really weird now. Because that sounds like nothing from the rest of the album now. and we don't return to anything familiar because the next part is just bossa nova. And you're like, why? Why are we doing bossa nova all of a sudden? And then it tears you out and does whatever this is. And you notice that when there's like a groove happening, I tear it away. So like you feel a beat happening with this drop, and then I also take it away, so you like try and feel it intuitively, but the beat's no longer there and stuff. You know, it's this descent into all this like weird experimentation, and now we're like in a place unrecognizable from where we started. And then the carousel switch, where I hit you with Karen Child, blah 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 blah. We know how this goes. We get into like progressive rock here stuff, some alternative metal. In Hush, you start with this like deconstructed club thing, this industrial hip hop, whatever. Get into the utopian virtual section. I'm trying a lot of new things for me in this section of the album, but I'm also trying to make everything feel still consistent with the next thing and the thing before it. Like, you can really tell that after Cutie Marks, I quote-unquote started trying. Not that I wasn't trying before, but after Cutie Marks, there were stakes now. Like, I had to prove myself. I felt like I couldn't continue on with how things were. In terms of, like, quality and, like, ambition and, you know, doing stuff that really matters and writing stuff that really mattered to me. And so, really, you start to hear me do all this stuff here, pushing different narratives, you know, trying out different characters and blah 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 blah, until eventually, you know, we get into just a full-blown rock album. This is like post-grunge, weird noise shoegaze stuff. We have this section. In Future, it's like more folky. And then Creek Flow, of course. And again, to remind you of where we came from, we started here.
Ding at the place.
That's where I came from. And then after Carousel is when I started to work on Love and Pony Step and Monarch. You might be really confused for a second, like, what do you mean Love and Pony Step? That's the album coming out right now. But that is what I started working on. The original working title for Love and Pony Step was just Love and Bro Step instead. As I was working on both ideas, Monarch took control. That was like the one that mattered more in the moment, based out. Not right now, tomorrow. It's coming out tomorrow. But sorry, that threw me off. I started working on both of those albums, but Monarch became the precedent based on the stuff that I was experiencing the most, you know. And working on Monarch, as you might imagine, was grueling and really hard on me. It was like emotionally tore me apart to work on that album. Several times I still had the desire to make music, but I couldn't keep working on Monarch constantly. So the way I would take breaks from Monarch is I would work on a different album. I was trying to work on Love and Pony Step, but I didn't feel anywhere with it yet. But in the process, I started working on Paradise Valley, which, you know, also hits you with a carousel switch, sort of. A lot of this album, this is less of a concept album and more of like a collection of ideas in the same style. I had really wanted to do more like, you know, cloud rap trap stuff, just because it was like I felt like I could bring a really ethereal aspect to it, mix it with things that people had come to know me for. And so Paradise Valley was kind of that experiment. I took a break from Monarch to work on it and did stuff like this. Some reggaeton. Folky. More of that cod rap trap stuff. It's the ambient thing. There's this one. Paint bucket. And the carousel switch here is Paradise Valley, where we move completely away from the sonic palette built up here and we go into dubstep. And this is the only song on the album that feels kind of not, I won't say negative, because some of the songs on here are quite negative too, but this one feels like existential and sort of like empty emotionally. And the purpose of the carousel switch here is to build you up for Brother Are You Proud of Me, which of course is one of the main reasons I wrote this album. So there's that. Then I kept working on Monarch some more, and that just hurt my soul more. I was trying and trying and trying, and as much as I was doing for the album, it just tore me to pieces. And that's when I was like, what if I made a companion album to Love and Pony Step, the album that I haven't even finished yet? But it was like wizard themed and shit, because I think that'd be super cool. And so that's when I conceptualized the Girls Who Are Wizards. And this is like the canon event. You know, Monarch is not the canon event. Girls Who Are Wizards is. Because I've gone through the whole discography relatively now, right? I've shown you this progression, and there's little blips here and there of like EDM trying to pop out, right? And finally, it's like here. The thing is, Fairy Tales was an attempt, but half of it isn't EDM, and half of the EDM on it isn't even like old school EDM. Super Pony World, the original one, was trying to do the EDM I was doing before, but it just, half of it wasn't EDM, and the EDM that it was just was completely in one direction. And so, despite how much electronic music I've released, Girls Who Are Wizards is like the first capital E EDM album. And it's crazy because so much of the stuff is EDM influenced or electronic music or something that you would think somehow there would be an EDM only album somewhere, but there just isn't. After 12, Girls Who Are Wizards came out 12 years after my first release as Vylet Pony, and there just wasn't an EDM 100% back-to-back EDM album. It's insane to me, because we've gone through this journey to see how much of it I was trying to do or making. So Girls Who Are Wizards finally finds the plot again. Complextro to start. Big Room House. And I got this, I saw this one comment someone left at one point who was like, I can't believe Vylet was able to create such accurate big room house music. It's crazy, because it's like, oh, there must be some great tutorials out there. And in my mind, I'm like, you bitch. 2014, I was there. I was there when it was written. I was there when Big Room was the thing. I was making Big Room when Big Room was the thing. Don't doubt my history. Quaid is back. We got our fucking bro step rhythm. We got our Moomba core. We got our house music, and we got our big, fat, capital B bro step song. And I think anyone who's been listening to my music for the 10 years that I've been making music, this is the song that I think made them have their fucking like Anton ego moment. We have my fun fact about this song: Reflected in the Eyes of the Cavern Lurker actually samples a song I wrote when I was 10. 10 or 11, I don't remember which, but nothing that's ever been released, but it does sample it. We get our fucking glitch hop song. Then we get our second glitch hop song. Then we get our progressive house complexure song. We get our hashtag drum step song. We get our future bass dubstep song. And of course we have the progressive house finale. And so basically it's like after 10 years, 12 years, I finally did the thing I wanted to do when I first started making music as Vylet Pony. That was like the most fulfilling thing to me in this entire discography thus far, was being like, this is the album I wanted to make in 2012. I wasn't good enough yet. I finally did it. That part of me was now fulfilled. It's done. I don't have to worry about having gone my entire life without having done it. That was really important to me. And so what was the other thing that was left unfulfilled? Well, before Vylet Pony, I wanted to make progressive rock music. So what was the next natural step but to follow up the capital E EDM album with a progressive rock album? I had learned enough in the background all this time to make this album. And so I did it. Well, a lot of this isn't progressive rock music, but it is still a progressive rock album. God, I love Genesis makes Princess Cuckoo. You know. I won't play Princess Cuckoo. You know. So, after Monarch, I had done the progressive rock album I had wanted to do since I was a child. Girls Who Are Wizards, I had done the EDM album I wanted to do since I was a child. And like those were the two main things I feel like I'd been training my entire career to do, was Girls Who Are Wizards and Monarch of Monsters, and I released them back to back. And so what's left? That was the question I was asking once we hit, you know, time to do Love and Pony Step. And this is like really kind of an emotional arc for me, but you know, I've been through a lot in the process of finishing Girls Who Are Wizards and finishing Monarch of Monsters. I won't get too much into it, but you know, I'd be fucking up my relationships quite a bit. So, been through a lot of major changes over the period of this time. And with Love and Pony Step, it was like, it feels like, starting with Cutie Marks, I had been trying really hard to address different, you know, unexamined issues in my life. You know, Cutie Marks and Queen of Misfits is the woe is me, Monarch is the woe is they, everyone I've hurt, you know. Girls Who Are Wizards fulfilling, you know, the thing I wanted to do as a kid. Carousel making commentary about a lot of different philosophical, artistic ideas, and needing to fulfill that within myself. And really, when it came to making Love and Pony Step, it was like, how do I tie up everything since Cutie Marks? Which is why this is called the end of an era, because basically the Vylet pony that began with Cutie Marks, the Vylet pony that happened with Cutie Marks, you know, needs to move on. And so like Love and Pony Step is that bookend to what started with Cutie Marks, and wrapping up like the last few things that I hadn't properly examined in my music. And so Love and Pony Step is a lot of things. It is, of course, Bro Step. I've seen some people worried that it's not a Bro Step album. It is. Don't worry about it. With Quickscope and Webpunk, I wanted to release the simpler, more accessible songs. The album's nuts. If you could, I wonder where people think my most chaotic album is, because it will not even hold a candle to what Love and Pony Step is. But yeah. So all that to say, over the course of 2 hours, yes, I used to make Bro Step music, and I've always made Bro Step music. Thank you for listening. That question was asked like 2 hours ago. I don't even know if that person's here anymore. Oh no, I'm staying as Vylet Pony. Vylet Pony forever. I just like, I want to start doing the albums I've been looking forward to for a while. Cutie Marks through Love and Pony Step have all been like side quests, you know? Yeah, I've basically been talking for 2 hours about my entire discography and how I arrived here, because someone was like, damn, I didn't know you made dubstep. And I was like, well, I have a loaded answer to that. Yeah, so shout out. Also, just for fun, I've been working on this. I think we were talking a little bit, or a lot of it, a stream or 2 or 3 ago about like the lore of my shit. And I tried to clean things up and make it a little bit more make sense. So I think I have decided on the title for all of my lore, because obviously Starship Ponyville encapsulates a lot of what goes on in Feather Dance's world here. But I think that to include things like Monarch, to include things like Our Light and After, to include basically everything related to my stories, Starship Ponyville is, you know, a subordinate title for what I think I want to call Wayfarer, or the Galactic Legacy of All Creatures. So Wayfarer is my universe of like stories and characters that all interconnect with each other. And the reason why Wayfarer is because in order to connect to all these worlds, you have to be a Wayfarer. I'll get to that. But let's start here. The entirety of my lore starts in the origin world. Everyone who knows Monarch will know about the origin world. The origin world was the first and only universe at the beginning of time. And then when that universe ended, it fractured into a million infinite other universes in the event called the Fracture. And this needs to go away, and that needs to go away. And so basically everything starts with the origin world. Origin world gets deleted, Fracture happens, and then there's basically an infinite amount of universes from here. And each version of the universe, each different universe can have different like physics, can have different like things about it. There's a lot of similarities between each universes. You can usually count on if there's a character, a person in one universe, there's like a 50-50 chance that a type of version of that person exists in another universe. But the one thing that's consistent 100% of the time is that each universe has some variance of Vylet. Vylet. And the first one, obviously, is Violet Cypress from the origin world as Wolf. But there's like a Violet in each universe. And each world tends to be named after the Violet that occupies it. So, obviously, Monarch brings us to Cypress's world. A lot of the story is in Featherdance's world. So Violet Featherdance, Violet Cypress, Carousel is Violet Lulumoon. And there are parallel worlds to Featherdance's world, Fairy Tale and Unitara. These do not contain Violets because they are not a different universe from this one. There's obviously other worlds that are less studied and will be cataloged in the future. One of them is Violet Comet's world. And then the Locus exists outside of all of these things. It is completely independent. But you can use a Locus room or a Locus mirror to access any of the other worlds in some capacity. Arya and the Shadows all have the ability to create a Locus mirror. A Locus room is like a permanent fixture, so it stays permanently on both ends of the of the bridge between the Locus and another world, or a world and another world. A mirror is a temporary thing, usually created by magic or whatever. And so that's how you read this chart, first and foremostly. If it's super circular, that's not really like a place, that's sort of a condition or an event. So you can read mostly the rectangular ones as being a place. So I'll let you look at that for a second. When did I decide that I wanted the majority of my music to be connected in between them? 2012. This has been something I've been working towards for a long time. So I'll get to that stuff in a minute. So origin world, the native beings are that we know that the audience will know are Arya and Cadenza. Places that you know are, well, that's not true. That's just, I'll just put this. I'm still editing this, but I don't have any names of places in Origin World published at the moment. And the only media currently that exists that relates to the Origin World is Monarch of Monsters. It explains it a little bit in the in the novella. The Locust, the Shadows, Cadence, and every resting soul from every universe. Places the Locust is sort of just infinite and forever. Media that relates to the Locust, Monarch of Monsters, and the comic series they do. And then it gets a little bit more complicated once we go down here. So Cypress's world is Wolf's world, related to Monarch of Monsters, primarily. Lulamoon's world, the Sapphire Torrent world. Vylet, Lulamoon, and Creekflow are from there. The primary place is just the Carousel version of Equestria. And what relates to it is Carousel comic series, and the song Where Do We Begin takes place also in Lulamoon's world. Featherdance's world is the main one. And this Featherdance's world is basically the G4 MLP universe. Almost verbatim, 1-to-1. So, characters in Featherdance, native to Featherdance's world: Saturn, Spectre, Vylet Featherdance, Reyna, Canny, Kenneth, and others. G4 locations are canon: Lumitir, Shaw, Norfey, Creature City after the Lodestar, and others. I'll explain that in a second. And media that relates to Featherdance's world: Twilight, Silence in Ponyville, Horse Friends, Control Freaks, Mystic Acoustics, Homers, Promise Comics, Love Letters, Colorless, Fish Whisperer, Comic Series, Top 5 Videos, Love and Pony Step, and others. This is Featherdance's world is like the main one because it is the G4 MLP world. With an asterisk. There's an asterisk about that. Fairy Tale is a parallel world to Featherdance, so it exists in tandem or subordinate to Featherdance's world as a little pocket dimension, essentially. The simulation world, parallel to Featherdance's world. Native beings: Hirfas, Hyperion, Madrigal, Respawn, Stinklebug, Snowies, Oslia, Vinchal, Udo, and others. Places: Colossus, Meridian, Dreamstage, Oslia, Big Room, Dubville, Creature City, and Swag Mountain. Media that relates to Fairy Tale: Super Pony World, Zero Simulations, Super Pony World, Fairy Tales, and Girls Who Are Wizards. Uniterra, the Hour Light and After world, parallel also in the same way that Fairy Tale is. The difference between these two is Fairy Tale is manufactured, it is like synthetic, whereas Uniterra exists naturally. Basically just Stella and Kai are native to it. Places: Equestria, the Hour Light and After version, and Uniterra. The main media that relates to it right now is Hour Light and After. Violet Comet's world is... The main information you need to know about it right now is that Violet Comet comes from there, who you have not met yet, and Angel Tiberius, or Crunkleard Tiberius, comes from Comet's world. And the asterisk for Featherdance's world being G4 canon is... The Last Problem is not considered canon to Wayfarer, while Equestria Girls is only considered partially canon. If that makes sense. And yes, I'm basically saying where everyone's from originally, but also I forgot to put... How can I forget? Top 5 videos and dubstep growl. Oh, I'll just shorten this to vid and dub. Anyway. Still editing this. And the thing that I think will help people the most is not actually this graph, but this graph. So this explains what exactly is going on with these words: universe, world, and realm. So the locus is exempt to all of this. It exists completely outside of all of this. The material realms, many worlds, material planes, etc., is basically a reference to everything that isn't in the locus. It contains all possible universes, etc. And one universe of these many realms looks like this, where it's one world and parallel worlds stacked on top of it, dimensionally. And a universe is a collection of worlds and realms as such. And a realm is basically a physical slice of that world contained by... basically, it's decided through influence. So, a planetary realm, for example, is a civilization that is expanded across its planet, or two or more civilizations that are in contact with each other within their own solar system, asteroid belt, rogue planets, etc. So, a planetary realm is basically, hey, we're deciding that this place is a realm because there's a civilization here and they only exist on one planet or something, if that makes sense. Whereas a galactic realm is the influence has increased to being across the galaxy, whether it's because a civilization expanded throughout the galaxy or two or more civilizations are all in contact and their influence cumulatively extends throughout the galaxy. So then there's the intergalactic one, which is just between the same idea between these two, but multiple galaxies and such. So a realm is just a little cutout of a world. So right now, if we were to put this in our terms, our realm in the real world, Earth, the human realm, is just contained to our solar system because our influence hasn't really extended beyond the solar system, if that makes sense. If we were to meet aliens from the next star system over, then the realm would expand to our solar system and their solar system. That would be the new realm. So we have we personally, everyone here, we live in a planetary realm because it's limited only to the solar system. Galactic realm is across a galaxy, intergalactic realm is across multiple galaxies, etc., etc., etc. So this should hopefully explain what these fucking words mean. So the material realms is a collection of universes. A universe is a collection of a world and its parallel worlds. And a world is a collection of realms and physical space. I'll publish this all eventually, so you can all re-reference it, but I need to expand it and do explanations of everything, because I haven't done the explanation as to why these all connect with each other. But yeah. Does this count as studying? Maybe. Go to Vylet Pony School or something. Hold on, I have ice. There's my iced tea. Vylet Pony Community College. The Locust University. There's Locust High School. Yeah. Cracking open a cold one with the rose. Who's your go-to artist right now? I have a Last FM. Apparently it's Dijon. Allegedly. Here's my current whatever. I was listening a lot to Love and Pony stuff today. Here's Lil Wayne. Kesha, Buena Vista Social Club, Blade, Sora. Echo 2K, Black Cray. I listened to this Le Chat album for the first time. Dijon. I like this album, I found it recently. Melt Banana, Brave Little Abacus. That Yule album I listened to for the first time. LCD Sound System, Burial, Kelly Clarkson, Michelle Branch. Burial. Honestly, probably Burial is probably a good litmus. I listen to a lot of Burial. One of my top albums on my Last FM. I don't scrabble everything, but just when I remember to. I mean, these are my top albums currently. Eat. Did I start scrabbling kind of recently? Oh yeah, like a year or two ago. And also, I don't scrabble everything. It's mostly just if I'm listening on like Spotify or something. And like I use Apple Music for a lot of stuff. This isn't even like if you want to see my topster, it's actually on my website. I don't know how well you can see that, but discuss. Probably very hard to see. The bottom is so white. Yeah, it is ranked by color, yeah. I didn't listen to the new Adrian Linker album. We'll see if the Deltarune soundtrack takes over Undertale. Yeah, Swans. For those who don't know, I have every single Swans album on vinyl and CD. Hold on. See if I can get the photo. Where are my photos? Here's the thing. Okay, Brad taste. Yeah, I know. I know. Lodestar jump scare. That was not Lodestar. Wait, why is that cropped incorrectly? Man, I don't know. Oh, because it's on the screen. That's why. There we go. What's the best physical Swans copy to have? I don't know. Oh, let me get up the photo first. Still scrolling. Favorite Drain album? It's between Ear or 333. Yeah, Sizzy. I'm still going through my photos. Where the fuck are they? Oh, here we go. Okay, here's my dork ass photos. On the left are my vinyls, on the right are CDs and one DVD. I also have a live, was it Live Rope and Birthing? That's not in these photos. Yeah, it's every mainline Swans album. The only thing that I don't have are like live albums and like some of the fundraiser albums and singles and stuff. And even then I do have Deliquescing. Or Deliquescence. This song is Deliquescing. And some of these are like duplicates because it's like I have like 2 versions of Filth technically. I still haven't listened to the new Swans album. I'm very intimidated by it. But I will listen to it at some point. But yeah, that is like every Swans album. Michael Gear is right behind me, isn't he? Anyway. $115, yeah. I mean, my favorite of theirs is The Glowing Man, and that's like no simple listen. But my go-to artist is, again, probably just Burial. I listen to a lot of Burial. I have no idea how I'm supposed to get into Swans. Yeah, that's hard. It's not the easiest thing. It's okay. I was like, fuck, man, the weather here. At least the estimates are going down, but I'm gonna have to do like 95 to 100 degrees, no AC for like the next week, which is gonna be really nice and fun. What was the, I think we did like, in 2021, we had like 113 to 120 degrees in Portland. And I lived, but I didn't like it. It fucking sucks. No AC. No AC, man. It's worse than you think, because the insulation here is so shit. So it'll be like, when it cools down outside, it just won't be cool in here for another like 2 days. So. But yeah, no AC. It's kind of crazy in the era of global warming. Climate change, rather. There are windows, but it's like, that lets in the hot air. It's also hard to get a portable AC. Hard to explain, just the hardware is really bad. It's funny, because I'm from California, you'd think I could handle heat, but I really fucking hate the heat. It didn't get hot, I'm from the Bay Area, it doesn't get hot there. I'm gonna try and get an AC of some variety, but I don't know how well it's gonna work because I have like no room for it, and I sleep during the day, and that's the way things are. If I have an AC that's going out the window, it's going to like it's gonna have my like blinds open, so I have to figure out a way to black out my windows so I can sleep. It's a task. That's a whole ass task. Also, everything is covered in power strips and I can't plug an AC into a power strip. Yeah, I know portable ACs are like inefficient, but like I'm telling you right now, it's going to be better than nothing. All I need is enough to sleep. That's all. That is like all I care about. Isn't this summer like the hottest on record? Not in Portland. But maybe worldwide, potentially. This summer seems pretty cool compared to other summers, except I still hate it anyway. At least in Portland. Well, I hope I could get a portable AC. I'm tired of... I've been dealing with this for almost 6 years. This will be my fifth summer in Portland. 2021 Portland summer was the worst one by far, but I was gonna do gaming, but I've just been talking this whole time. Oh, Lunacy's good, yeah. Do you like Portland? Yeah, except in the summer. Really, Portland is fine except for the summer. Yeah, I mean, Portland's chill, so a lot of people have been moving here. I think it's really funny. There's like a... It's like a conservative Republican talking point to like talk about how bad Portland is. Like, oh, look what Antifa blah 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 is doing here. Oh, look at like the leftists. Look what they're doing. They're trashing the city. And it's like if you come to Portland, just like it's like fine. That's like the funniest thing about it. Is like on the news and in social media, they're gonna be, look how fucking terrible Portland is. The leftists are trashing it, and then you come here, it's like I barely see that at all. Everything's like literally fine. Their main talking point is like, people are doing drugs on the street. That's crazy. There's like people who are living in tents. That's crazy. I can't believe the leftists would do this. It's like, go to any major city and that's like really normal. It's like what? It's like what? And like none of these people don't bother you. That's the crazy thing. Is like I see these posts from like people being like, oh my god, I had to walk by someone doing drugs on the street. And it's like, okay, pussy. Like have you had like a real struggle ever? That's like my first thought. It's like, have you ever dealt with something before? Like, if that's like the thing that scares you the most, then like I would love to be you. I would love to have the privileged life that's like the thing I worry about the most. People are like stealing stuff from stores. Yeah, that's like a thing that's been happening since civilized society started happening. That's like it's really funny. Like, what point are you trying to make? People steal shit. Relax. Not even a big deal. So that is to say, I like Portland a lot. It's great. People talking weird about it, you know, they have ulterior motives. Portland's not perfect, but like shit, it's fine for me. Yeah, I can't believe they're doing drugs on the street. They go fucking like down 10 shots at the bar and then like drunk drive into like another person. It's like really true. It's like, yeah, well, I'm doing it the civilized way, quote unquote. It's like, yeah, man, okay. Person who's never left the suburbs voice. There was a hot dog stand on the corner. How horrible. I wonder what these people think of food trucks. I'm so curious. Oh my god, that's so unsanitary. You guys are cooking in a truck? Yes, it's a truck. It's like a Ford F-150. They're cooking it in a Ford F-150. Wait, should we start doing that? Vylet burger out of a Ford F-150. Wait, Creek burger. Creek Flover. No, Creek burger. Cars and trucks and cars and trucks. They're like, oh my god, the fucking, oh my god, there's like crime in the city. This is like such a dystopia. Like, actually, there's like 10 people who have like most of the world's wealth, but that's not the thing that you find dystopian, but like whatever. Creek Burger has got to be better than Beast Burger. Does Mr. Beast Burger still exist? Is a question I have. Creek Burgers and Vronuts. We are literally just saying shit now. Literally just saying shit in here. I do love saying shit with you guys, though. He sold it? Did he? Hold on. Okay, let's get this. Mr. Beast Burger. Well, on... What the fuck? It has one... Mr. Beast Burger is an American virtual restaurant founded and developed by internet personality Mr. Beast in partnership with the virtual dining concepts. 2,000 virtual restaurants, one physical restaurant? What the hell? One physical restaurant. Holy shit, they're in Sweden. Holy shit, they're in the Philippines. What the hell? The only Asian country that Mr. Beast is in the Philippines. What? Do you see this? This is nuts. This is nuts. Benefit to struggling restaurants. Lawsuit 2023. Oh, the lawsuit is not concluded yet. Creek Burger Special bun, 800 pork chops, A&W root beer, pepper jack cheese, lettuce bun. No, in Sweden, but no other Scandinavian country. You know, because it's just like the Finland and Norway are sort of just optional, if you think about it. At least that's what their thinking is. It's a good place to eat when the lawsuit is on the Wikipedia page and they've only existed for like a few years. Yeah, it's true. It's very true. November 2020. Wow. Jimmy Donaldson. Oh, I don't need to see that. I don't need to see the guy. You know what that's making me realize though? Is I haven't played GeoGuessr in like 3 million years. Let me log into my GeoGuessr account. Let's do this. Did that say GeoGuessr is now on Steam? Is that what that said? I like clicked out of it because I thought it was just a normal pop-up. What? Did I read that right? GeoGuessr Steam? Oh, it has a 5 out of 10 on Steam. I can't tell if that's just because GeoGuessr is like as shit as it is now, or... I don't have time to read this. I'm just gonna play the game. They made this UI so bad these days. Let's do a world. No move. 40 seconds. Sure. Oh man. Part of me wants... Man, I hate this. Road. I don't think it's too late. Think about the time GeoGuessr doxed you. That was still really crazy. Here's my shitty guess. Yeah, I know that was shit. I was like... I haven't played this in a million years. This is America. I don't give a fuck. No one wants to try in America. It's fine. Hello. Where's this, Italy? I'm just going Italy. I don't feel like reading. Oh, that was Wait, that was French? It was like a toss-up between Spanish or Italian for me, not French though. Whatever. Where? This is like Texas? Oh, it's California. I didn't get my Californian sense! Oh no, am I getting washed? I can normally like smell it from a mile away if it's California. I didn't clock this as California immediately. Uh-oh, that's not good. Well, it's a warm-up or something. Is this like... here? Yeah, hungry. Okay. I want to say it's like probably here-ish. Not even close. Every word is like really blurry. Super bright. Does it say miles per hour? Is that an MH? Shit. Where did they use miles per hour? Ghana? Kenya? Ghana. Ghana. Where's Ghana? Help. Wait, Nigeria. Do we have Nigerian Street View? Do we have Nigerian Street View? Since when do we have Nigerian Street View? Well, horizontally speaking, or vertically speaking, this is very close, so, you know. Ew, 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 ew. Actually, is this California? I don't think it is. I feel like this is... Damn it! Melbourne Street. And we're not in Australia. I don't think. Maybe we are. No, I think we're like... I think we're like over here. Fuck, really? That was Idaho? This was Idaho? This? Man, okay. Does not look like Idaho to me, but that's like fine. Let's go Melbourne, Idaho. Japan? Japan or South Korea or Taiwan? I'm going Japan because that has the most street view. Okay, it's Japan. Uh-huh. That's... Portuguese? We're like here? Is that Spanish? Okay. This is very tropics. Colombia? Really? Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense now that I'm looking at that more. It's Puerto Rico. Okay. Cypress trees, shout out. There's no... I don't think there's an EU tag on that. So where? So where? Using my big fat small brain. Sure, why not? That's oh, well, that... I was cheated. Well, that one's pretty easy. All you have to do is look for, like, the racism porch. You're not allowed to move? No, I've chosen it to not allow me to move. Okay, those were relatively easy. What is this? I can't tell if that's Thai or Laotian or... It's definitely not Sri Lanka. Surely. Or... I have a hard time telling Cambodian and Thai apart from each other. I'm gonna go on the border here. Oh, is India? Wait a minute. Why did I not see that? And it's not Thai. Hold on. Oh my god. Oh my god. If I could just zoom in a little bit better. Okay, whatever. That's something I should have known. So that is my fault entirely. Help. Russia? Hungary. I was trolled. Eh! What the hell? What? Ew. Too pretty for Russia. What is this? What if it's... Okay, well, I was on the right track. Oh, it's beautiful in this world that we live in. What? Is that Cyrillic? What the fuck? Where? Is that Cyrillic? I can't tell. The shapes are really weird from this angle. I can't tell. I think that is Cyrillic. I'll go here. Why not? You know what? Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. It's not the correct country, but like the same area. That was like really... This area is like really pretty. That's like really pretty. Oh! Oh no. I closed my tab on accident. Okay. We're in miles per hour. We're in America, but like where? This, to me, in my mind, feels very like this could be. I don't know. It could be Texas. I'm gonna be safe and like go here-ish. That. Oh, well, Iowa makes plenty of sense, actually. Oh, well, this should be pretty easy. Surely this is Finland. Let me just make sure I'm not going crazy. That's Finland. That was pretty easy. Finland's too obvious. Okay. The triangle? The pyramid? Why are we in the pyramid? Why are we looking at the pyramid over here? I feel like we're... I feel like... Could this be Peru, actually? No, just Mexico. No fun. It's never Peru. Ew. Oh my god. Who and why? Oh, hello. Streaming right now.
Dex said.
Oh,
Hi.
I got scared. It's like someone else joined too. That is Dex. Holy shit. No, wait. I'm losing it. Sure. Oh, that's not a bad guess, actually. What the fuck even is this? Context clues. Snowy mountain, big mountain range here. Dirt road. Very interesting. Man.
Would you mind giving a discard scream when you have the chance?
Yeah, 1 second. Van, this is probably not Switzerland or Austria, but I just can't think right now. Oh, that makes so much sense. It's just southern Chile. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just southern Chile. That makes a lot of sense. Chile is such a fucking big country. Help me, where am I? Okay. What? Where is even this? This one's gonna hurt. I know this one's gonna hurt. Whatever it is, it's gonna hurt. Oh, could it be Spain? Whoa, what? Okay, guys. When the fuck ever does this look like the Czech Republic? When the fuck ever? Whose first thought looking at this is like, this is the Czech Republic? Really? It's just like really dry. Interesting. You don't live there. Help, 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 help. Where is this? Bacon Trust Garda. Hastings. It's definitely America, obviously. Like, where? I'm scared. Fair Lawn. This place looks like somewhere I should know, which is what's bothering me. Oh man. What the hell? Can we get, like, North Carolina in chat, please? Oh, it's just Kansas. Okay. Cypress trees. Oh. My immediate first thought is like Romania. Okay, it's just Turkey. Whatever. UK? Australia? New Zealand? UK? UK. No. Yes. UK. I'll just say it's UK. Okay, thank God. It's just Manchester. What is this, like, here? Oh! Whoa. Okay, that's Russia. I'm kind of washed at this game these days, huh? This feels like someplace I've been. It's kind of... You know, is this a gamble? Oh man, I can't think of where in California would be, because I don't think it is California, but in the event it is California, I want to make sure I actually am at California. That's the thing. Okay, it's Colorado. Colorado's just landlocked California. Peru? Mexico? Mexico. Surely. Like here. Why are we just like, why are we in Minecraft House Town? I'm gonna be really bad if this is Peru or, I mean, it could be El Salvador, right? Could it be El Salvador? El Salvador would be the more fun pick, so I'm going there. Oh, it was It was Peru. I said it verbally. I saw the roads and I was like, that looks very Peruvian, but the signage made me think otherwise, so. Trust the gut. Well, sometimes I trust the gut and then it's just ass, and that's even worse. Illinois, why not? It was, I can't tell why that is. Is that North Carolina? Yeah, it is. I feel like this is... It's like France, Belgium, Netherlands, so I'm gonna go up here. Yeah. Yes. I really wish I could see more signs than this. My immediate first thought was Singapore, but I'm really scared of picking Singapore and it not being anywhere near Singapore. The trees don't exactly look right. But these buildings, they're so brutalist and interesting. Oh wait, no, that's Spanish. Help, 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 help. No, that's not Spanish either. Colombia, okay, cool. Whatever. I didn't mean to go to Brazil. They don't even speak Spanish there. But it was tropics. So where the fuck is this? I think I got my answer. Oh, it's all the way over there. No, they're okay, whatever. Florida. But it's like not Florida because it's like going to be Colorado. There's like A-frames. Latvia for fun? Estonia! It's like never Estonia. I wanted to be Estonia. Okay, well, Latvia's pretty close, so. Well, America. Hopkins Rural Fire Department. So it's gonna be in fuck all nowhere. Well, if it's fuck all nowhere, let's try Mississippi. Okay, it was just North Carolina again. God, this place is ugly. Try Mississippi again. Oh, it's Texas. It's even worse. Well, no. No, I think Mississippi's probably worse than Texas, but that's fine. Green. Man, I'm green. I can't tell if that says stop or not. EU tag there. I can't really read that. I mean, a safe bet is just saying here. Oh, Serbia. Okay, what about this should have given me Serbia is my question. I mean, yeah. Those balconies are Slavic, Balkan in adjacency. But anything else? What else here should have given me Serbia? I don't see it. I just don't see it. Quick, I go back to the infant and ask them. Hello? Taxi bus. Serbia's always tricky because they have... They mix their characters a lot. Doesn't... I don't know, at best this would make me think like Czech Republic again. Yeah, this was a weird Serbia. Okay, I'm in hell. I don't know. I don't know, so let's just say Namibia for fun. Why not? So that's Washington. We just got Namibia on Street View recently, and I was like, I just want it to be Namibia. I want Namibia. Are those long license plates? Corrugated brick situation type character. I cannot tell where we are. That's pointing pretty far. Can't tell if it's South American or African. I'm gonna say South Africa, why not? In the Dutch part. Yeah, sure. Hello? Hello? That outfit's crazy? Relax. Where are we? What if it's just Serbia again? Now I'm scared. If I knew more about trash cans, that would probably give me an answer. Fine, Serbia. Where are you? Help. Okay, that was just Fran. Why? I didn't... Okay. 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 This... Man, my brain wants me to say Brazil so bad, but it's probably not Brazil, but I don't know what to do here. Yeah, it's Mexico. Okay. It's def Mexico. I should have clocked that, but whatever. What? Is that... I can't... Is that Norwegian? Belgian? Dutch? Finnish? Not Finnish. Not Norwegian. I'll go here. He was Belgian. Okay. How did the Street View car get here? Driving. Sure, I'll say it's Mexico. It's Colombia. That was my second guess. No, Argentina is also my second guess. Colombia is my third guess. Okay. double checking this. Can it actually be Taiwan? I don't think so. That's Japan. Oh. I don't know. This is bad news for me, this one. I might fold for this one. Okay. Wait, no, there was like red dirt. The dirt's like red. It's like either Brazil or Australia or South Africa. If you have the red dirt. It's whatever. 2 points of shame, yeah. I deserve it. I've earned it. Okay, this one's this one's unfair. But where in Greece? I don't even know if I could suss that out. No way this is like down here, right? This looks like it would be... Oh, maybe it is. Big mountain is true. Oh, that looks fun. But I don't know where it is in Greece, it's just Greece. Huh? That's a river? I was like, this place looks coastal to me, but I think maybe just a lot of Greece looks coastal by default, so whatever. Okay. Huh? No. Relax. I should have just stuck with Birmingham. Okay. Man, I wonder where this is. Oh. Well, country was right. Okay, this is not good for me. I'm looking at tiled roofs. The roads are, like, very that way. No, I clicked. Hey, that was so mean. You heard it. Well, I was gonna be wrong anyway, but it would have been closer than 0. Thank you. Okay, this is surely going to be like here, right? Well, close enough. Do you I would have gotten so many points. I would have gotten so many points if I had just clicked fucking Italy, even though it was France. Austria? Let me take a look at this before I conclude Austria. This looks really Austrian, but I'm scared that it isn't. Okay, that was just Austria. I'm glad I didn't overthink this one. Fucking Hamblin. Where the hell is this? Hereish? Holy shit, Canada jump scare. Everyone's favorite place. Okay, this one's weird. Help? I'm split between Russia and Turkey, and it's not gonna be either. Oh, it is gonna be Turkey. I said Russia first, so... It would be so fun if this were like Australia or New Zealand, but sadly it's not. It's going to be like here. Okay, close enough. Germany? No. No, 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 no. Norway? Norway? Sweden? It's between Norway and Sweden, but I'll just go with Norway because I said it first. It was Sweden. It was almost Stockholm. It was Stockholm. Well, it was almost Stockholm. Could it even be the Philippines? It can even be the Philippines. Ew. Ew. Oh my god. Texas. Okay. Oh. Oh no, Delaware. I thought you were cool. Okay. This should technically tell me the answer, but I don't know enough about them. Hungary? No. Germany. Surely it's not here, but... Fuck! Fuck! Oh no. Huh. Cypress tree jump scare. Those are really weird ones. Oh, Portugal. Okay, that was my speed round, and that was like one of the best scores I've done. Okay. Let me do moving and no time limit. And I want to see how good we can get with this. I'll play this one and then I'm gonna get off stream, I think. Where in the even fuck is even this? Ah, okay. Switzerland, maybe? What this reminds me of is the area where Switzerland and Italy meet each other. Reminds me very specifically of like this area. Italianicious. Yeah, this actually might be exactly where I think it is. Okay, I'm looking in Italian side somewhere here. Oh my god, that is so wrong. I mean, not like so wrong and then it's like the complete wrong part of the world, but fuck. Okay. Europe. What? This is all I get? Just this one strip of road? I can go this way. Fucking Minecraft ass houses. Adelphi Street. This is... Kemble Park is probably Ireland or Northern Ireland. Maybe? UK Southeast, so I might be really wrong. I don't know where that is. I don't know what Milton Keynes is. City of Roundabouts. I don't know. Oh. You have to zoom in a lot for that one. Holmesland. What the fuck is this increment, Google? Google, this sucks, bro. It's not North Carolina, I promise. That was a solemn promise, so this is not North Carolina. What? Help? Holmesland. Southern Norway. Southern Norway is possible.
Dex said, the locust.
You're definitely right. This is the locust. Because the locust is just Norway forever. Stop making me snowy every day. Every 5 yards, it's snowy with you. Stop! It's really funny. Thinking a lot about how they keep like rural roads clear when it's snowy. Okay, this is not really giving me a ton of information. It's definitely like Norway or Sweden. Smeeland. Wait! There's like a kindness fish. Holy shit, that water's really blue. Yeah, I'm gonna say that this is probably like... here, fuck it. Wow. It was like Diet Coast Stoveland. We were heading south. We were gonna get to Stoveland. You're expecting more north? Norway is really weird in that like the southern parts and the northern parts actually don't look as divergent as you might expect them to. I feel like I'm going nowhere. Help, this is like taking 10 years. Okay. Montevideo. Okay. 111 kilometers. Which direction? Oh, what direction is this? That's west? So west. Would we be like Florida 15 kilometers? Whoops. I don't know where Florida is. Where's Florida on the I might be thinking of this too literally. Where it's definitely Montevideo is like west from here, but it's like southwest this road technically, and maybe where's Florida? There's Florida. So Florida's really close. I would assume that we're around here? That's like the actual exact fucking place. How dare you give me 4996? Guys, let this be a lesson that, like, America fucking sucks. Because every other country is a lot easier. I'm not even from any of these countries. That's all I'm saying. See, and here we go. No idea where that... I don't know what the fuck Denton is. Holly Road. Just some dumbass American shit. Nothing identifiable. Nothing interesting. I don't know what this is. What? It says 404 West. Don't know where the 404 is. I don't drive. Error code. It's true. There's a fucking 9009? What? And I don't know where the fuck Denton is. Is it like... I don't know, looking at America just makes my brain start to fry a little bit. Too many roads. And yet it's impossible to get anywhere somehow. Logan. Burning Well. Who fucking names these? That's Dalton. That's Dalton. I don't like looking for this. I don't want to. That's another Dayton. Okay, I give up. Go to West Virginia. The old sail barn. I must have missed something interesting. Okay, sure, whatever. Like, decent. Done with it. Thanks for coming. For a stream. Bye.